Binghamton University held a ceremony honoring one of the school's most distinguished professors for his work that has revolutionized global technology. So this is Kyle Spisak joins us in the studio with more on the story. Kyle?
And faculty and friends at Binghamton University joined together to celebrate the 5th anniversary of Professor Stanley Whittingham's Nobel Prize. The university honored the achievement, but also gave a glimpse into the future of battery technology right here in the Southern Tier. December 10th, 2019 will be a day forever remembered in Binghamton University's history. Tuesday, faculty and staff at the university celebrated 5 years since Professor Stanley Whittingham received his Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his invention of the lithium-ion battery, creating a legacy of innovation at the university and here in the Southern Tier.
Not only did he invent the lithium-ion battery, but since then his entire career has been dedicated to making that technology accessible and usable across our entire energy ecosystem, which is important as we try to solve the crisis of global warming.
50 years ago, Whittingham invented the lithium-ion battery, which has since revolutionized battery technology. His work is used in everything from smartphones, electric car batteries, and even solar power cells. Whittingham's recognition gave the Southern Tier the ability to pull funding to make upstate New York the battery hub of the United States.
Stan could be anywhere around the globe working on anything he's interested in, but instead he continues to put his talent, time, and hard work for our region and for the planet. As we continue to work towards establishing upstate New York as America's battery capital, Stan is leading the way.
Although Whittingham's invention has revolutionized technology across the globe, a new challenge has risen when it comes to expanding on clean energy. There's not enough workers who understand how to work with the technology.
We've talked about 70 companies. They all said the same thing. There are no workers who know how to make batteries. There are no workers who know how to connect batteries to solar cells, to cars, or anything else. So huge effort in that area right now.
Whittingham has stayed loyal to the Southern Tier despite his worldwide recognition and success. He plans to continue innovation through a new battery site expected to open in Johnson City. Whittingham says that the people at Binghamton University is a huge reason why he has spent the past 30 years of his career in Broome County.
This has been a good place. It's been good to me. No, we've had good presidents, good staff here, and faculty talk to each other. In other universities, there's fiefdoms and issues. Here, everyone talks to one another.
And Professor Whittingham will receive another honor next month as he heads back to England, where he is set to be knighted by King Charles III at Windsor Castle for his dedication and innovation to clean energy. Live in the studio, Kyle Spisak, 12 News.